If you've been keeping up with the Israetel files, or should I say the Dr. Mike situation, PhD gate, then you'll probably know that the story is all over the place. Let me catch you up to speed. Solomon Nelson drops an absolute banger, a heater, magnum opus on Dr. Mike Israetel. Or should I just say Michael at this point. Dr. Michael, then informs Milo Wolf, who's this guy, which we reacted to the other day, that it was actually just a rough draft. But wait, there's more. They retracted that statement. It was actually the final draft. So all of Bro's comments were null and void. It's a weird situation. I don't know why he ran defense for Mike in the first place. Do I really care? No, not really. But that's what we're doing in the slop trenches. We're here to observe and laugh at the comments.
Along the line, an older version ended up in the repository.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
So I wanted to do an updated video with a full timeline of how this has gone down. There have been multiple deleted videos, deleted comments from some of the biggest names in the fitness industry, and I already see the narrative being changed, and so I think it's important to document everything all in one place. So I will go through everything in real time, step by step, and I will be very clear what is fact and what is potential.
After I saw the day of eating video from Michael, I knew it was over. There's no way. And the nail in the coffin was the Navy SEAL fitness test. How are you going to position yourself as an authority in the space when you can't even broad jump 3 feet, can't even run a mile, can't even rep 225 with efficiency, the pull-ups shaking like a leaf? Where is the functionality of the training? There is none. Where's the IFBB Pro card? There is none. Where's the sauce? Where's the juice? Where's the squeeze? Still looking for it.
Speculation, what might have happened on my part. So the initial video that kind of set everything off was Solomon Nelson's video from about a week ago, September 30th, which now has almost 1.2 million views. And in this video, he has a scathing critique of Mike Israetel's PhD work, where he details data issues, proofreading issues, spelling issues, just a whole myriad of stuff that makes Mike look really, really bad, as well as the whole program.
This is why you need to undersell yourself and then over-deliver. Never oversell yourself and under-deliver. There's a lesson in there.
At Eastern Tennessee State University. That video is still up. It's never gone down. Kudos to Solomon for not taking it down, despite Mike pressuring him to do so. And it will be linked in the description. Now, after this video dropped, there was basically radio silence from Mike Israetel, although he did restrict access to the dissertation itself at some point, according to YouTuber Zerk Fitness. I don't know exactly when this happened, but it seemed somewhere in the days after this video dropped. Then on Milo Wolf's channel, Milo and Mike said that actually Solomon had only critiqued a draft. It was not the final copy. They actually had the final copy, which they presented in a Google document.
But here's the kicker. The version Solomon reviewed wasn't even the
This was the glaze fest, if you remember.
final dissertation. It was an earlier draft. I need to make one thing very clear. The version of Mike's dissertation I've reviewed is a much later draft. This is the document Mike himself saved, defended, and sent to me. And it corrects many of the typos and inconsistencies that Solomon highlighted in his video, through no one's fault in particular, and that
There's 2 reasons why this is such a big deal. Number 1, Renaissance periodization / Mike Israetel is one of the biggest in the shitness industry. And 2, he really plugs the whole doctor title. If he wasn't so confident about his intelligence, his IQ, if he wasn't so braggadocious about how smart he is, the blowback wouldn't be as harsh. He built his entire career off of it, some would even say.
appears to be the version Solomon accessed. But one thing is certain. The document Solomon reacted to was not the latest version that was actually examined and passed. And that's the smoking gun. If there's one thing universities never get wrong, it's the name of their own department. In other words, Solomon wasn't even reviewing.
Once you claim to have an IQ above 160, you're open to any level of criticism.
The defended archived dissertation.
Now, there are a number of issues that this video had. First was the draft narrative, which has a number of issues, which I will get into a little bit later. Second, there was a lot of strawmanning going on in this video. For example, Milo said that Solomon was asking if Mike's PhD should be revoked.
Should Dr. Mike's PhD be revoked? That's the question Solomon Nelson recently asked. Should Dr. Mike Israetel's PhD be revoked?
Is that what he actually says? I think he just says it wouldn't pass by today's standards.
Was Solomon's claim.
That's not true. He never said that in the entire video. You can search for the word revoked. No, nowhere, okay? I asked that in my thumbnail especially, but asking if something should have passed is different from asking should something be revoked. One is hypothetical and in the past, the other is now and in reality. The Stephen Hawking comparison was also taken way out of context to the point where it had to be willfully done. Solomon was not saying that a PhD has to be on the level of Stephen Hawking. He was saying that if there are lots of errors, type-reading stuff, proofreading stuff, misspellings, but it was on the level of a Stephen Hawking, then it kind of changes things. But he's not saying you had to be on that level. And I guess
You are a clown.
for the wise, if you're going to strawman someone, but their video got 1
I'm still so confused how Stephen Hawking got it done with his nurse. Cheated on his wife. Bro can't even move. Meet Morp Zeep Zorp.
2 million views, probably not going to go well. The third thing I noticed was
You think Stephen Hawking was packing heat? Bro had an absolute hammer? There's no way. Slob my knob. Malfunctions. Drives off a cliff.
Mike was trying to seem like he was kind of above it all. Milo was saying, oh, he didn't even watch the video, by the way. Yeah, he didn't even watch the video. Yeah, 70 minutes on his PhD. No, he didn't, he doesn't watch it. And he doesn't respond to these things out of principle. That's why he has me respond for him. You know all those Butler jokes that Mike's been making? Maybe they weren't actually jokes.
Incels have no excuse. So true, I've been saying this.
For context, Mike hasn't even watched Solomon's video. He doesn't respond to this kind of content as a matter of principle.
The fourth thing I noticed, which I found kind of hilarious, is that they were downplaying what a PhD means. So before this, Mike is leaning very, very heavily on the fact that he is a doctor. He described, like, oh, I've invented these formulas that describe athletic performance, that kind of stuff. He mentions it every single
Skill 1 plus skill 2 plus skill 3 plus skill n equals athletic performance magnitude.
video. And after, it's just the intro.
Dude, a perfect day for me is going down to the posing room, working on some equations, doing some deep work, and then jujitsu with my wife, whom I love very much.
Introduction to research. It's basically just like a driver's license.
A PhD is an apprenticeship. It's about training someone to become a scientist. Think of it like a driver's license.
And as an aside, and this is personal opinion, I think if Mike didn't lean so hard on his PhD...
See, I have a PhD, but it's completely different. Pretty huge dick. Dong.
Wouldn't have fallen over. A lot of this came from really just shoving this degree down people's throats, and so that he kind of brought a lot of this on himself. Fifth, he kind of throws his advisor under the bus in a pretty significant way, saying like, oh, I wanted to study something else. It was a collaborative effort. PhDs, actually, it's not just one person. It's a lot of people collaborating. Mike Stone actually wrote most of the literature review, that kind of thing, which I did not expect. It was a bold strategy. It didn't pay off, by the way.
I had a different idea about how I wanted to do my PhD. My supervisor, Doc Stone, turned it down. The PhD is actually surprisingly more collaborative than people think. Doc Stone himself put a lot of work into this document, especially into the literature review. And so this is really more of a collaborative work, very much guided and directed by him.
Sixth, they tried to paint Solomon as biased or just being a hater. And I think to a certain extent that is true. He's made a ton of videos on Mike, and pretty much all of them are quite negative.
But if Solomon Nelson is a hater, then Milo Wolf is a glazer, so it cancels out.
To date, Solomon has made more than 10 videos about Mike. When one person becomes your channel's most reliable source of outrage, views, and income, it raises the question of motive.
I hate this shit everyone brings up. You're just doing this for revenue. Yeah, you're just milking the AdSense. Can a white boy chase the bag? No shit. I'm doing this for money. What do you think? I'm morally pure? I'd be working at Wendy's. We dark triad max over here.
But that also doesn't mean he's
You got me. I love money.
wrong. Furthermore, Milo,
You want me to do this for free? What is this, charity? You want me to be poor? Please, dude. Please.
your channel has been very, very much in
Yeah, if somebody says that, I just hit them with a Mr. Krabs laugh. Ah,
favor of Mike Israetel, and a lot of your views come directly from him. So you absolutely have bias as well, which I think, in fairness, Milo would probably admit. Furthermore, and maybe more importantly, the funding from Milo's PhD is from Renaissance periodization.
What are you doing this for money, bruh?
So maybe he feels like he owes Dr.
It's from George Soros. It's from an NGO.
Mike. They've collabed a lot. You know, maybe they're friends. And I think sticking up for your friends is important. Loyalty is something that I admire in people. But at a certain point, you really do have to question what you are actually standing up for, especially when you get into later events. Mike then posted to his own Instagram saying that it was a rough draft that Solomon critiqued.
You know, I kind of admire that. Just undying loyalty for your boys. They're glaringly wrong. You just run defense for them. That's some mafia type shit. Respect.
And implying that he should take his video down, saying, do you guys think he should take the video down? So he's trying to leverage his fan base, and I saw a number of comments on the video that I had made trying to pressure me to take my video down, and actually Alexander Bromley, who had also made
Mike has changed the narrative again, said his agent had the most recent dissertation. Are you serious? Is that breaking news here at Third Eye Global?
a video, he did take his video down, at least temporarily. And here's the full post. To his credit, he says, I'm huge on freedom of speech, so cool either way. His decision will absolutely speak to his character, though. So this is not like a really strong arm type of thing, but it did send a legion of fanboys over to say, oh, it was a draft, oh, take your video down, which did not really age well. However, there's a little thing called the internet, and it was churning. It was getting to work. There are a few issues with this. It was a draft.
Even if my homie is wrong, I'ma still do tricks on it and mega glaze.
Narrative, especially the Google document that they had provided. First, the dates. The version that they presented was from March 2013. That was the date that was written. The version that Solomon used was August 2013. I mean, that alone is pretty damning, as Milo would say. Explain that. How do you mess up a date? Have you ever been, working along in March and accidentally written August on your paper?
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Or vice versa? You don't mess up the month, okay? You maybe mess up the day, or the day of the
What year is it? How long have I been here?
week. You don't mess up the month, and certainly not by that much. And no explanation they've given has been even remotely satisfactory to try to even attempt to explain that. Next, the ownership
This is just a clusterfuck. They already fumbled it. There's no recovering. The wolves are in the comment section, ripping him to shreds.
of the file. It's a social media sort of manager editing company that has worked with Pac and Milo. Could this be innocent?
Who?
Maybe they sent over the file quickly and someone had to host it rather than Mike.
Dude, they're treating this like it's the Ark of the Covenant. Who's got the file? Send it over. It's on the dark web, in the cloud. I don't even care at this point.
Even though he had the initial document, he sent it to someone else first. Maybe, but that doesn't look good. Next, there are edits here on the document itself from October 3rd. October 3rd, 2013, right now, 2025. October 3rd, 2025. Like a few days ago. Yeah. Now, they claim this is from a comparison tool that was used maybe to find errors or discrepancies or something. Now, these have since been edited out of Milo's video. He said that he was going to chop out a few minutes based on later information, and part of what was edited out is the part that shows the dates of these edits, but...
Ooh! Caught him in 4K. Caught him with a tub of protein in his hands. Caught him with creatine on the lips.
I have a earlier copy, and so, yeah. Next, number 4, the document appears to be kind of stitched together, where part of it is a Word document. You can select the words, and then part of it is kind of like a file scan. This doesn't look good, but it also might be part of the file. I think normally if you have a PhD, you would just upload a whole PDF as one file. It wouldn't look Frankenstein together, but I will say that this...
You guys remember the old Microsoft Word headers? Like the default graphics you could use? Imagine writing your PhD with the word art. Sheesh. That's what I would have done. The Chrome is a classic. The Wave, huge fan.
This could be something that happened. By the way, this video is sponsored by me. So we just launched the GVS Hypertrophy app.
Oh my god, I'm being sold to. I can't escape.
Basically, you get a customized and personalized
Do I need an app? Focus. Philion? No, I don't need a hypertrophy app.
Plan that adapts and evolves over time so you can keep making progress. Plus, you get access to a bunch of forum tutorials that I've been filming over the years. These are not like bench press with the bar. These are a whole bunch of working sets, and then I detail visualizations, tips, tricks, how to get the most out of every single movement. So
if you train for hypertrophy as a man, you're not going to make it.
If you're interested in that, I will link it in a pinned comment as well as the description. And the timeline here just doesn't really make sense to me. So you're saying you had an earlier version.
You need a macro tracking app? So true. I need to snap a quick pic with my phone. Get the macronutrient breakdown.
That had tons of corrections. 1,500 from the ETSU staff. It looked polished, pristine, not perfect, but pretty good in March. And then in August, you had a version that had fucked up titles. The name of the department was now messed up, so they corrected the department name in March, and then somehow Mike messed it up again, along with the titles and all the spelling errors and the punctuation.
I mean, that alone is my issue with the dissertation. It looks like he flopped his ball sack on the keyboard and just mashed random buttons. I don't even know how you accidentally make that many typos. It almost seemed deliberate.
Listen, if you're trimming a document down, if you're cutting the fat from your writing, this doesn't happen along the way. The writing is supposed to get better over time, not worse, right? Like you polish the turd, you don't turd the polish. That's what's going on here. And this alone just doesn't make any sense. And this is where everything fell apart. And, I mean, I guess if you have a time machine, if you invented a time machine, Mike Israetel, that's actually a pretty good contribution to science. So, like, if that's what happened, then, you know, please speak up and all is forgiven, because that's pretty cool, actually. And then, October 6th, Mike posted to his Instagram. Upon review, the dissertation that Solomon examined was indeed the correct document. Most of the errors were clerical. Now, there were fundamental issues with this document. A misplaced negative sign on a few correlations and a table pasting misalignment repeated across 3 tables. He's really downplaying the issue.
Upon review, I lied.
Issues here. You can go look at Solomon's full video. It's more than that. But he has to downplay things for his audience. Because a lot of his audience, they're not going to watch the video. They might refuse to watch it. And they're only really going to hear about this from their hero, their cult leader, Mike. He then posted to his Instagram, again, with kind of a full timeline of his description of how things...
What do you think about the point? You can't blame Mike for passing. Sometimes you hand in shit and you get a better grade than you expect. Listen, I don't really care about the quality of his PhD in a vacuum. It's just he presented himself as someone that he's not. If you're going to base your entire reputation off of one academic document, i.e., the doctor title, a PhD, well, then that body of work should represent your competence. PhD doesn't mean jack shit for the most part. Yeah. I mean, I could have told you that. But when you walk around going like, I'm the expert. For me, it was so simple. I saw him jump. I saw him run. I saw him lift. I saw him get the blood eagle surgery. And I said, something's not right here. It was that easy. Any expert worth their salt will be able to prove themselves in the arena.
Went down. A few things jumped out at me. First is sort of being really humble, but I don't think this is genuine. He's only being humble because he got humble. This is not him. This is survival. This is trying to ease his way out of it. I also found it interesting where he said that I sent him multiple files because I legitimately didn't know which was the right file after 12 years. I told Milo I wasn't sure which file was which. Just send the most recent file. Okay?
This is almost gish galloping. The truth has been obfuscated. Such a good word. The obfuscation of the truth. I mean, you're only getting vocabulary and vernacular here at thirdeyeglobalkick.com/Philion on a daily basis, streaming every single day, even on weekends, multiple hours a day. Kick partner program. I mean, do I even need to keep reminding you? Yeah, apparently I do, because people still don't know that we stream on Kick.
If you have a few different files of a document, which one is going to be the most recent? The most recent!
There's just so much information and backtracking and retracting of the statements where everyone's just kind of confused now, which is enhancing the memes.
If there's one from August, why would you send one from March? That doesn't even make sense. He did not double check the files compared before Milo posted them. This is 100% on me and me alone. Well, that's pretty unbelievable, really. Just check the dates. Whichever one is the latest version. It's not that hard. Big mistake, very sloppy. Sloppy Seconds Mike is actually an old high school nickname of mine, ironically. So again, he's trying to do the self-deprecating.
What? Is that another sexually charged joke? Sloppy Seconds Mike? They call me Phallic Phil. Bro's always got his fucking meat out.
Thing to make people feel better. Or it's just, it's so obvious what is going on.
That's not a good nickname. That's equivalent to like Phil McCracken.
But people are going to eat this up. And they have. A few days later, I dove into the files and realized that the version of the dissertation Milo posted was actually an even older version than the one Solomon critiqued.
Sloppy Seconds Mike, the only alliteration is on Sloppy Seconds, meaning you could put that nickname on anyone, but you would want the name to start with an S. Like the reason Magic Mike works, because they both start with M. Sloppy Seconds Mike doesn't work. It's not even funny.
So you're telling me that you weren't monitoring the situation at all? Like you didn't even go watch the video that you and Milo made? You didn't go check the file at all? Like you went to the Himalayas and hiked for a little bit?
You see, the reason why I'm kind of checked out of this drama already is because we're talking about some nerd shit, and I just don't identify with it. We keep it so simple, stupid. I mean, ooga booga, get strong, eat, sleep. Miss me with this whole science, okay? Keep the nerds away from the shitness industry.
Then came back and we're like, oh, a few days later, oh my god. That is also unbelievable. Then he said that his advisor, just this morning, emailed him the correct final copy. So it appears that the version that Solomon downloaded was not the most recent version. It was a version that Mike himself...
How is anyone keeping track at this point? Holy shit!
Uploaded, but he uploaded a previous version there 12 years ago. So there are apparently 3 different files floating around. And he says, finally, at no point during
This is proof nerds can't lift.
any of this process did I retroactively edit the dissertation copy Solomon critiqued.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave when we try to deceive.
Try to claim it as an older copy. So yeah, basically their version of events is they uploaded the wrong version 12 years ago, which Solomon used, and they have a new copy, but then there's also a new copy that they've now used, and they've taken down the old copy, even though the dates from the new copy still seem to be before the version that Solomon checked. Yeah, okay. Now, the other narrative, which seems to be the most popular one in most comments, is that they saw the video, they kind of waited to see if it would pop off. It popped off. It was getting hundreds of thousands of views, rocketing towards 1 million. They knew they had to do something, and so they decided to take an older version, put a bunch of corrections quickly, maybe using AI or ChatGPT, I don't know, it's a speculation.
Why the fuck are there multiple old copies even in circulation? Why is it so difficult to find the finalized version? Smells like coping and seething. I think the reality is Solomon actually critiqued the final version, and now they're scrambling. And they thought they could get away with it, and they're like, nah, he's got us.
And then claim that this was the original, and Solomon was actually critiquing a draft. They then used this as leverage to try to get Solomon to take the video down. That didn't work. Also, because of the evidence of the recent edits and the dates being all fucked up, and the idea that an earlier version would be pristine and the later version would be messed up, a lot of people weren't buying it. Then, for some reason, Mike kind of throws Milo and Pac under the bus and posts that actually Solomon's version was the correct version. And then a few days later, they said, okay, well, now there's 3 versions to just, because that clears things up.
One would assume you have the original final paper in the file cabinet. Yeah. Whatever happened to file cabinets, You pull that accordion shit out. It's like 50 feet long. You thumb through it. I'm looking for my files. Not enough people have file cabinets these days.
And then Mike's audience thanks him for handling this professionally and with transparency.
Fucking pull it out, dust it off. There's like glittery aura around it because it's so old and ancient. It's exactly the paper that you're looking for.
I'm not even being sarcastic. That's actually what a lot of people are saying. And I guess I have a few overarching questions. Mike, you say that you didn't watch Solomon's video. So how do you know that he assessed a draft? And if you did know he assessed a draft, why didn't you say something immediately? Why did you wait several days? If you did upload a bad version 12 years ago, did you never check it through the official site? You're telling me you did your PhD, it's the culmination of years of work, and none of your...
Mike needs to go on a meth bender and streak in public so the audience moves past this event.
Your friends or family members, colleagues, co-workers were like, so, you got a link to your PhD? Just, you never ever checked it through the official portal? I know if I got a PhD, I would be checking to see what other people would see. How was the department name spelled correctly earlier in the March version, but later in the August version, it was suddenly messed up again? Same thing with all the other typos and errors, same thing with the charts. How did it get worse over time rather than better over time? If you download something from an official website, why would you assume
He trained his PhD to failure. Normally you want to progressive overload that shit.
it's a draft and not the final version? If you go to the New York Times and you download an article and you read it and it's shit, would you assume, this must not be the final draft? I don't think that's a reasonable assumption. And so painting Solomon as some kind of bad faith actor or someone who didn't do his due diligence, it just doesn't make any sense. And all of you owe him an apology, which I have yet to see.
The earlier version, he's not even critiquing the same document that examiners reviewed. He's critiquing an earlier draft while presenting it as a finished product. And that's misleading.
We now know Solomon was looking at an accidentally uploaded incorrect rough draft. We have the final draft now in the link here.
But when you combine that with the fact that Solomon wasn't even working from the final defense...
Bro hasn't uploaded a video yet. How long will he drag the ducking? You talking about Dr. Mike? I don't think he's going to respond. He's going to keep it moving.
...version, the bad faith becomes impossible to ignore. He didn't do his due diligence and confirm it was in fact the final version.
And if it's your PhD, you moved across the country to do this, it's the most important document of your life, you spent presumably lots of money and energy and time and effort that went into this, you're telling me you don't know which version is which? Or you just didn't check?
Milo, He knew all along. There's a reason he used you to make the response video and not himself. He needed someone else to say it to cover himself from liability. And now that it has come out that he did in fact upload the final version in 2013, he used you to cover for him. Instead of just admitting the truth and take the bullet himself, he used you to take the bullet for him. Friends don't do that to each other. Interesting comment.
It just doesn't add up. It's unbelievable.
I don't know if people are that dark triad. Perhaps they are. Most of the time I chalk it up to just incompetence and laziness. Nah, I'm not going to fucking respond. He'll just do it for me. Instead of like, let me trick my friend into ruining his reputation on my behalf. Maybe.
It is unbelievable in every sense of the word. And it has been very interesting, if not fascinating, watching how various people respond to this. You have people like Atlas Power Shrugged, whose mafia analogy looks very, very fitting at the moment. Seeing how some people leapt to Mike's defense, even if that didn't end particularly well for them. Alexander Bromley had a good video, which he took down, but it is back up. Fazlift had a good neutral take, but even if it was a pretty overall neutral take, even he found the idea that you don't know your own data and you get that kind of mistake in a chart 3 times to be laughable.
You guys remember the copy pasting? There were entire blocks of the dissertation that were just copied and pasted over and over again. All that fluff.
Revival Fitness has had a good take on this. Scientific Snitch as well. I've had my differences with both of them. And then, of course, Greg Doucette is having a field day with this. On the other hand, there are definitely some people who I think did not do the right thing here. You have Dr. Pack, who supported Mike right after the October 4th post, and then deleted that video, and then offered a retraction. When it came out, it was not a draft. It was actually
I can't watch these people. They're so cringe. Same.
the real copy. And then
I'm telling you, I have to keep my distance from the shitness industry. It's an aura deficit. It's a black hole.
Did that video as well. Of course, you have Milo, and there's no way that Milo comes out of this looking good. Either he was involved with the shenanigans, or Mike did it himself and then duped Milo, and Milo was just like, okay, yeah, let's just do a video. I don't know which it is, but either way, he comes across looking either deceptive or an idiot. Sort of one of those two. You have Mitch Hooper supported Mike. The comments absolutely eviscerated him. The lift heavy, be kind guy, right? Like, you're nailing one of those. You're nailing one of those, buddy.
Yeah. There's some dark drama in the strongman world, too. I remember we dipped our toes in it. I don't like the doom and gloom. I like the entertainment. I don't like the fucked up shit.
Good job. A few comments were like, are you bought? Why are you even doing this? What do you owe Mike? And so that was just sort of a weird video overall. Jeff Nippard supported Mike, downright insulted Solomon. I don't think he's apologized yet, but he has deleted his comments. This is disappointing.
What does Jeff Nippard have to say about this? This way I can have the correct opinion.
I must admit, I've been a long-term Jeff Nippard fan.
I think the doctor title should actually be absorbed onto Jeff Nippard. He should take it.
Not a good look, and I think he does owe Solomon an apology. Goob also downplayed this, which I was very surprised
Who? Who the fuck is Goob? Where have I been?
with, because he's supposed to be this investigatory journalist type who exposes the underbelly of the fitness industry. And if you say nothing, I think that's bad, but defending this and supporting it, I think is an entirely different issue. He's not someone you really want to piss off, but I must say I was disappointed with his take here. And then Nick Shaw of Renaissance Periodization, of course, supported Mike, which makes sense because you got to prop up the cash cow. And can you imagine someone else filling in for Dr. Mike? Now, what caused Mike to cave? I think there are maybe 4 potential things. First, pressure from the university. They said that Mike Stone emailed over the correct version, and I'm guessing Mike Stone was like, listen here, you uppity little shit. I don't know, that's how it actually sounds, but like, you're trying to screw me over with this collaboration bullshit. No, this is on you, son. Maybe pressure from Solomon. I find this unlikely, though. I think he just dropped the nuke and then kind of sat back and watched them destroy themselves.
Yeah, what is Solomon Nelson up to these days?
From Renaissance periodization, it's possible that if you're the face of a multi-million-dollar company that can't function without you, maybe Nick Shaw was like, all right, like, just fucking admit it and let's move on.
I thought Mike Israetel was the founder of RP. He's not. It's Nick Shaw. Who the fuck is this guy? This is the team. This is the Power Rangers of RP. So you got IFBB Pro, the Doctor, and the CEO. I mean, it makes sense.
You know, the race stuff, the IQ stuff, like, that's fine, whatever, but this is too much. I don't know. Could have been pressure from a lawyer. Maybe a lawyer friend was like, so, forgery, fraud, maybe backpedal this a little bit. I don't know. It's possible. I would say the university explanation is the most likely one, but it's hard to tell. But either way, he clearly threw Pac and Milo under the bus. They both issued very, very hastily composed retractions, and then Pac later deleted his for some reason. Yeah, I mean, who needs enemies when you have friends like that? And I feel kind of bad for them, but also they absolutely brought this on themselves as well. Now, is it possible that this was not fraud or forgery? I mean, maybe you can make up your own mind, but for me, or at least a hypothetical version of myself in another universe that's my twin and not actually me in this universe, who was a betting man and was placing bets on the likelihood of this being fraud and forgery, well, I know what he would do. For me, I have no opinion, of course. But him, yeah.
Could this be criminal? No way. I forged my PhD. Now I'm going to fitness industry jail with Wes Watson.
He has pretty strong opinions of what is the most likely outcome in that universe.
Sloppy, or even fraudulent.
I think given the dates and the timing and the recent edits and the stitched together looking document and
just a retraction of the qualification. Does that actually happen though? Has there ever been a case of people losing their PhDs?
The deleted videos and then the edited videos, and it's just a lot. Can
I sue RP Strength? You told me he was a doctor. His PhD's bullshit. I got no gains. Zero huzz. False advertisement. I don't know. I'm just trying to make a bag.
To be assumed that would be very unlikely to happen together for this to be just a mistake.
I guess technically I submitted the wrong draft to the graduate school.
It has to be a lot of mistakes done together, that each of which seem very unbelievable, if not impossible, and all of those to have to happen together. So, yeah, who knows? So I have 7 takeaways. First of all, it's a pretty humiliating defeat, I must say, but it is also nice to see
That's true, but it is expected.
The right people come out ahead.
Maybe it is a humiliation ritual. Maybe he actually is getting off on this. Maybe this was his biggest goon yet.
My opinion. Number 2, when the chips are down, people tell you their true colors. Number 3, I think exercise science has some work to do. Maybe this will help. Maybe this will help people be more careful with their doctorates or degrees or other information that they are putting out, because I don't necessarily think you should expect someone to do the best work all the time, but this is so far from the best work that, and then the potential cover-up, I think it's, and you shouldn't condemn an entire field based on the actions of one man, but I do think it is pretty telling how few people in the exercise science space actually took a stand here. I actually have a lot of respect for Scientific Snitch, because she's in that space.
Oh my god, this girl again? I can't escape her, bro. Who is this woman that's being astroturfed into relevancy? Scientific Snitch. Please!
It's part of her brand and whatnot, and it's what she's into, and she was one of the few people in that space who actually called it out. Everyone else was either silent or defended it, even though, given the evidence, it was pretty...
Never heard of her? She's a plant.
...indefensible. Number 4, a lot of doctorates are shit. That's something I've found out over the past week from people messaging me and emailing me saying, yeah, like, actually, this is kind of the norm, or it's very common. I do think the field has advanced in the past decade, but this is probably more common than most people realize. And if someone is a doctor and they're on social media, there's a decent chance that they got that doctor for social media, and it's just branding to be science-based, exercise scientist
It appeals to midwits.
critiques.
Guys, he's literally a doctor. Do you know how many times I've heard that in general? They just default all their fucking suspicions and hesitancy to the fact that they're a doctor. Have you met some of these people?
To be clear, Mike is not science-based. He never has been, and when people say, oh, you should only review his present work or his current work or his latest work, yeah, a lot of that is not very good either. He doesn't have citations. He doesn't really support his work. He's not science-based, okay? And anyone surprised by this dissertation has not really been keeping up with the lack of quality in his more recent work as well. Number 5, I completely agree with Milo where open science is needed. We need more transparent data. We need to
We don't need any of that. It's already figured out.
actually show the data, not just the results that can absolutely be easily
Bench, squat, deadlift, overhead press, pull-ups, dips, sprinting, combat sports, walking. There you go.
doctored. Doctored Mike. I saw that comment. He's not Dr. Mike, he's Doctored Mike. And also it needs to be accessible to everyone. Not just alumni of the university, not just people in the department, not just people who have access through their university. Everyone. If you're presumably doing this thesis or this dissertation or this doctorate to push the field forward, why would you do the research and then bury it? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Said I have a PhD, and I almost never talk about it.
That is sus. That shit should be framed. That's what my mom would do. Oh, let's frame your PhD. Mom, no. Oh, we need to. Next thing you know, it's in the living room.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as Milo here, 100%. Number 6, there are a lot of people out there who are sheep. I've read probably thousands of comments over the past few days, and there are a lot of people who, they don't want to look at the evidence. They're never going to look at the evidence. They're never going to think critically because it's their boy, it's their guy, it's their guru who is being critiqued, and so they're going to defend him no matter what. Doesn't matter if he's right or wrong or it's obvious or...
What the fuck? I need sheep. It's just that the audience that I cultivate, everyone's just so high IQ. Can't even lie to you guys if I wanted to. See right through it.
not obvious. That's irrelevant. But he's their guy and they've got to stick with him.
I don't experience the emotion of pride much.
And I think that is particularly egregious in the science-based realm. Because it's supposed to be about the evidence. But in this case, for a lot of people, it hasn't. But the real ones know, and this...
Dude, he's smarter and bigger than Mike Menser. He has a PhD. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. 160 IQ, by the way. Multi-millionaire.
is going to haunt Mike for the rest of his career. Right? Like, if Athlete X ever does a deadlift at a sports expo or something, there's going to be people who are like, you know, this guy used fake weights, right? He never admitted it. He tried to cover it up. But people know. Same thing with Mike. Whenever he introduces himself as a doctor, there's going to be people who are like, you heard about that? Because the real ones know. They know how shit went down, and that's part of the reason why I'm making this video. Again, you can decide for yourself. I'm not making any definitive statements, but it doesn't look good. Number 7, just tell the truth. Just tell the truth from the start. It's so much easier. You don't have to keep track of what lies you told, and, oh, did I make a mistake? Oh, did I betray myself? No, just tell the truth, okay?
So true. You don't have to worry about any of this if you actually just tell the truth. Bro, if he had a clip floating around of, dude, I'm gonna be honest, guys. I was going through some shit during my PhD. You ever turn in one of those papers mad late? Tell your professor, it's not looking good. Shit, I don't even know what my PhD was. But you know what? I got it. Lesson in there. Game is game.
The industry is full of fake weights and fake butts and fake photos and fake heights and fake body weights. People lie about everything. But the internet has a habit of finding out. Oh, you said you're 6'4", but you're shorter than this guy who's 6'2". It's so obvious. Why would you lie about something people can see? So, just tell the truth.
I'm 5'8".
Okay? Maybe it's more difficult in the moment, but long term, it's going to be better. Because remember, the internet is undefeated.
Not good. It's not looking good for Michael.